Hello and namaste. This is Invisible India podcast. My name is Abhishek.
And I'm Jessica. And
we're struggling with a makhi or something.
Fly is like not leaving us alone today. So the real India experience. So we're a cross-cultural couple. He's Indian, I'm American, and we've been married for 10 years. We have 2 kids, do bacche hai hamare. We host the Invisible India podcast on our cultural journey. We interview people who are breaking stereotypes, and we talk about our cross-cultural life in India. Today, we're going to take a listener question, and the topic is food. Abhishek's favorite thing to think about, talk about, consume, dream about. I don't know. Everything is about food for you. Yes, it is.
No, that's someone else's perspective.
Right, that's my perspective. So the question is from Donna. How do you keep a masala family, in this case, Indian American family, happy at mealtime? So how do you keep a Indian American family happy at mealtime? Well, like I said, we have 2 kids, and they both love different kinds of food. So we've kind of trained them into liking curry and liking masala flavors and spices, but also enjoying more plain flavors that don't require a lot of heat to really enjoy. So I think our kids will probably eat anything. It's more about keeping you happy is kind of the challenge. Basically, it's like I'll make food that the kids and I will eat. So we'll make like Indian food that's like less spicy. It doesn't mean
we have our cook making food that all of us eat except the kids generally, and then you make food that you and the kids eat, and I sometimes eat. And then, so basically there are 2 overlaps, 2 the different sets of foods that get made. And I eat sometimes the other one and mostly this one kind. And Jessica usually eats both. And kids only eat one side and sometimes the other side. I think that's almost how it works.
Yeah.
Right?
What are some of your favorite foods that I make? Indian.
Maybe like to do with brinjal, bangan, or trying to think.
What about least favorite food that I make?
I actually don't really remember right now because
that's a good answer.
Here. No, honestly, we've been here for 3 years and
4, going on 4.
4 years. I eat like Zomato, like 20% of the times. I eat like cheap food, and like sometimes I eat like nice restaurant food, and sometimes I just prefer home food. So I'm a mix and match.
So part of the answer is that sometimes you can't be the one cooking all the time. Just let the guy get what he wants, even though it's not always
but mostly we eat at home.
Mostly we eat at home.
Yeah, mostly we eat at home.
I think some of the things you don't like are like my soups. Like I make a lot of soups with like different kind of vegetables that you're like, that shouldn't be in a soup. Like cabbage soup, I don't think you love. Like I made that once, you didn't like that. And you can like eat it one time and then you're like, okay, all done. I don't want any more. Whereas
ideal is to do intermittent fasting, where you eat one day and you don't eat the other day.
So you're going to intermittent fast on the days that I cook. Thanks a lot.
No, I'm just saying, like that should be the goal. But we end up eating too much.
So I think actually one of the things for me of how to, because I know he has like a good appetite for all kinds of food, really, and I'm not really as much of a food person. I mean, I love good food, but I was raised where like food is just to feed your stomach. It's not this like totally emotional experience where I'm going to come home and the first thing my mom's going to ask me is like, oh, what do you want to eat? Like, you know, जब आप छोटे थे तो फिर मम्मी पूछती रहती थी कि बेटा क्या खाना है, खीर बनाया, you know, गाजर का हलवा बनाया, कुछ बनाया, चूरा भुंजा बनाया. So like आपकी फैमिली में लोग बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब प्रेम से खाते हैं. And for me, like when
People are busy, more busy.
Yeah. And it was like, what's there to eat? Like a cheese stick or like ramen noodles. Like that's, I didn't really care. It wasn't like this emotional experience. So that's a big difference.
Right. Yeah, I figured that when I was living in America, people just, there's means to an end.
Means to an end.
It's not an end itself at all. But
Mostly.
there, in some circles, like it is, like hipster people or like whatever, like barbecue or like eating nice dinner together as a family where you're making nice thing together. But that's not normal in American culture anymore.
Right.
Like you do that once in a while anymore.
And that's another actually good thing is like the whole eating together point is a lot of Indian families don't eat together. Like you don't all sit down at the same time and have a meal. It's like if someone comes home from work, then you feed them at that time. Or you have to make fresh rotis and you just serve them hot. So you can't sit down and eat while making fresh rotis. So that's like one dynamic that I think is really different. And a Western family, we're expected to like everyone sits down together, and once you sit, you're sitting there and you don't get up.
Right.
And whatever's there is there.
But nuclear families are more eat together in India,
India.
but joint families don't. I think
Right.
more or less, unless you have a cook or something, then everyone can sit and eat, and cook is actually on cooking. But otherwise, generally in larger families, there are some people eat, some people cook, and I don't know. I don't know. In our case, again, it's a blended culture, blended way of doing things. We do our individualistic, whoever wants to eat whatever, and then sometimes we do together eating, and sometimes I just don't feel like eating any of that, and so I just eat something else. So
we just try to keep it flexible. It's not like we have to do one way or the other, otherwise.
But I mostly eat Indian food. That's right. And you and our kids mostly eat, I would say mostly, but eat 50-40, maybe like 50-50, or maybe 40-60. 40% times Western food, 60% of the time Indian food.
Well, if you're counting like a
Maggi noodles.
cheese sandwich Western food or a Maggi
Yeah.
Western food, then but those are actually made in India. So
No, I would just consider that Western.
well, that's junk food actually.
Junk.
Like
Which is
kids
a universal
eat
food.
junk food. I'm sorry to break it to you, but like they do. So sometimes that's what you have to make them.
Yeah. So
But anyway, so anything else? Any other points you want to make about?
no, that's the like,
food?
difference probably between some of our other like expat families in India, where both people are like American and they're living in a foreign cultures. They both have similar food habits. They both enjoy their whatever ribs or whatever it is.
Or like bread, like homemade bread. Like
I enjoy bread, but like
Sometimes.
not the way like I didn't grow up like that. But yeah, so there's that difference. Like I like my own food, and Jessica likes her own food, and I usually like some of her food, and she likes some of my food. But we usually have
a variety of food
Yeah.
at any point in the fridge, and we just kind of mix and match, and whatever you feel like at that time, you eat. And we both eat each other's
Right.
kind of food.
And
Oh, one important point: he's non-veg and I'm veg, so that's another element. But mostly, I would say like 80% of our diet is vegetarian.
Right.
So, and then he just eats what he wants later. So that's another thing to
And
consider.
then the other thing is that we are able to be flexible because we live by ourselves. If we were living with other people, you will not have that luxury. You join family, like we were talking about that earlier, that you'll not be able to do that as easily, because most of your family is going to be Indian, and they're all going to like spicy food. They're all going to want certain taste, and you as a foreigner might be only one who may not like everything.
That's right.
So yeah, I understand that. I mean, I've heard people like say, "Oh, I love Indian food." Like I don't, but I've figured out that it's not that simple. You may say that you like Indian food, but
रोज खाओ, रोज
but-
मसाला,
yeah,
घी,
I like
तेल,
American
ये
food
सब
too.
तो
I
फिर
like
समझ
American
में
food.
आएगा.
I like American food or whatever that American food is, like an evolution of American food.
But you get tired of it every day.
Yeah,
2-3 दिन
I
खाओ
think-
फिर
I
बस.
mean, I lived in America for
दे
a
दो.
long time, but still, like it's something I would rather prefer if someone can cook for me, or I'm cook, means to do it. Like, I would always prefer Indian
food.
So that's just my take on it.
That's our take on it. That is our take on it. So if you have any more questions about our food habits or our weird food habits, then write to us on invisibleindiapodcast@gmail.com. Comment on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. You'll see below. That's all linked there. Subscribe to our channel to get more videos, and make sure to watch part 2 of my interview with Nikita Gupta with Growing Up Guptas. You do not want to miss that. Thanks, and catch you next time.
I would call that Nikita Gupta. Jessica calls it Nikita Gupta.
Because she calls herself Nikita Gupta. Okay, Indians call her Nikita. I specifically asked her that in the interview.
And she
are you Nikita or are you Nikita? And she says, well, it depends on who you ask. I said, what do your parents call you?
Nikita has
Nikita.
More swag to it. So. Okay.
Thanks.